Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Learning English with Mr. Jonathan. Alright, our topic for today is the past simple and the past continuous. This topic is taken from the English download textbook, Unit 2 and page 21. Okay, how do we use the past simple? Okay, so generally, or we use the past simple when we are describing something that started and finished at a stated time in the past. Okay, I'm looking at this example. Okay, for example, they investigated that crime 2 years ago. Okay, so now we know that the investigation, alright, it happened 2 years ago and it didn't continue into another year. Alright, next we use the past simple for past routines and habits. For example, the archaeologists often visited Egypt. Alright, for this, now we know that he or she doesn't do that anymore. Okay, so the archaeologist, he is not visiting Egypt anymore. And please bear in mind that this is usually used with an adverb of frequency. So I've highlighted here. Alright, we use it with the word or with the adverb often. Now let's go on to the third one. Okay, so we use it for situations or states which were true in the past but are no longer true. Okay, what does that mean? It could mean that a few years back maybe you believe in something but now you no longer believe in that thing. Okay, for example, Tony believed in ghosts when he was a child. So when he was a child, so probably that Tony is already an adult now. Okay, so he no longer believes that there are ghosts existing. All right, next I'm looking here. Okay, actions that happen one after the other in the past. For example, when telling a story. Okay, so there is a possibility of a sequence, turutan. Alright, turutan. Okay, so in this sentence, Dean opened the door of the haunted house, went inside, and walked slowly up the stairs. So firstly, he opened the door. Second, he went inside, and third, he walked slowly up the stairs. So you see the numbers here. This is number 1. So this happened first, then this action followed by the third action. Now, another situation where we would use the past simple is here. For past actions which won't happen again. For example, Homer wrote many stories about the ancient Greeks. Okay, who is Homer? Just in case you kids are wondering, Homer is quite a famous, I would say, writer many years ago. But as we know, he is no longer alive. So he's already dead. So being a dead man, right? A dead man cannot write. So we know that the actions that Homer used to do many years ago, which was writing many stories, okay, dia dulu dia bercerita, tulis cerita, it won't happen again. Why? Kenapa? Sebab Homer dah mati, right? Orang mati mana boleh menulis. Okay, let's go on. Okay, now I want to show you various ways to use the past simple in sentences. Okay, so look at the table here. So we have 4 categories. We have the affirmative, we have the negative, we have the question, and short answers for the questions. Alright, so you can read this on your own, but what you need to see here is the spelling changes. Okay, so when in negative, we need to add did not, and the spelling goes back to the root word, cell. The same thing goes for the question, did I or did you, and then the word is using the base spelling, cell. Okay, then we have the short answers. When we use the short answers, usually we answer with either yes or no, and followed by did or didn't. Okay, so this is the various ways for us to use the past simple in sentences. Generally speaking, I would say as students, you will be using mostly. Okay, we're using the part that I circle mostly. Okay, now an important aspect of the past simple is the general spelling rules. Okay, so I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. So just let me pause this. Okay, firstly, for verbs ending with E, with the vocal E, A, E, I, O, U, with the vocal E, right? So if you see here, the word leave, you need to add D. The word die, it becomes, you just add another D and it becomes the past form. Okay, for verbs ending with EL, alright, just like the word travel, it becomes travel. What about words that end with Y? For example, cry, then the spelling changes to cry. It changes to IED, it becomes cries. The same for dry, it becomes dried. Okay, now for verbs ending with the letters O and Y, for example, enjoy, it becomes enjoyed. Okay, so these are just I would say general spelling rules, okay, that you would probably need to memorize in order for you to remember when or when not to change the spelling. Okay, next you are going to look at time expressions, perkataan yang menunjukkan atau fasa yang menunjukkan masa. Okay, just let this play out first. Right, so it's quite many actually. Right, firstly, okay, to show the past, usually as students you will be using the word yesterday, or in BM you call kemarin, semalam, okay, last night, okay, last night, last week, last month, last summer. And if you notice, I've highlighted the word last. So this shows that the action has already happened. And the same with a week or a month, a year, but we add it with the word ago, dah lepas. Alright, then we have twice a week, once a month, at the weekend, on Monday mornings, alright, on Thursdays at night, in the morning, afternoon, evening, and even in March. Okay, so we mentioned the month. Okay, these are the time expressions that we'll use when we are talking in the past, something about the past, sorry. Right, now the next element of the past tense will be the past continuous. Okay, so when do we use the past continuous? Right, we use the past continuous for actions that were in progress. So tindakan atau kelakuan yang berlaku at a stated. Stated here means dinyatakan. Pada satu masa yang telah dinyatakan. Okay, let me give you the example. The historian tu ahli sejarah, he was reading a book. So you know, past tense, right? He was reading a book at 5 o'clock last night. Okay, dia sedang baca buku pada pukul 5 petang kemarin. Okay, so the 5 o'clock was the stated time. Okay, then we use the past continuous for two or more actions that were in progress at the same time in the past. Dua tindakan yang berlaku pada masa yang sama. Okay, dua tindakan telah berlaku pada masa yang sama. So I was watching a spooky program. Spooky means scary, menakutkan, while my brother was doing the laundry. So these two things, kamu sedang menonton satu rancangan yang menakutkan dan abang atau adik kamu pada masa tu dia sedang mencuci baju. Okay, the word while shows actions that were in progress the same time. Okay, next. We use the past continuous to show background information in a story. Okay, background information, latar belakang di dalam sesuatu cerita. Okay, so for example, the sun was shining and John was walking in the forest. So in the story, we know that at that time the sun was shining and then John was walking in the forest. Okay, now the next one would be an action that was in progress in the past that was interrupted by another. What's the meaning of interrupted? Interrupted bermaksud diganggu. So kamu sedang melakukan sesuatu dan ada lagi satu benda mengganggu kamu. Right. Mengganggu di sini tak semestinya ganggu kacau bagi takut tu, no. Okay, it means just probably distracting your the action that you were doing. So the example given here, we were talking about our theory. So you were talking with your friends about something when we observe something remarkable. So talking was happening first, and then secondly, the observing part, you observe something. Okay, however, you need to remember that we do not use stative verbs in continuous tenses. Alright, so sorry, that was too fast. Okay, in order to understand stative verbs, I suggest that you watch the previous video so that you have a better idea of what are stative verbs. Okay, let me go on. Now this I'm showing you now on the screen is using the past continuous in sentences. What did I do? Okay, sorry. So as I was saying, so this is where you are using past continuous in sentences. It's just the same as the simple past. You have the four parts. Okay, but what you need to see the difference here is, alright. Alright, so the general spelling rule for using the past continuous is basically you either use was or were depending on your subject, if it's a singular or a plural subject. So you'll be using was and were, alright, followed by the verb ing. Okay, if you look at the example here, alright, were selling, because this is the plural subject. Alright, so let's proceed to the time expression in using the past continuous. So we have while, as, when, all day, all week, all month, or all year, at 10 o'clock last night, last Sunday, last week, last year, this morning. Okay, so these are the time expressions that we are going to use, that you might use in sentences while you talking about something in the past continuous. Okay, so just now we talked about the word while, I think, to show you that, to show progress. And on this mind map you have as, you have when, okay, all day, I've highlighted this. Alright, and remember I mentioned about stated time, last night, okay, last Sunday, last week, last year. Okay, so these are the time expressions. Alright, that's about it. I hope it helps to clear some confusion, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe, everybody.